What if I told you that everything you know about reality, the solid ground beneath your feet, the boundaries of your own identity, the separateness between you and the world might be an illusion? Imagine a universe where everything is connected, where the smallest particles defy logic, and where the act of observation itself shapes the fabric of existence. Sounds like science fiction, right? But these are the startling truths revealed by two seemingly unrelated disciplines, Buddhism and quantum physics. In today's video, we're diving deep into this fascinating intersection, exploring how ancient spiritual wisdom and cutting-edge scientific discoveries converge to challenge our understanding of reality. Buddhism, with its profound teachings on emptiness and interdependence, invites us to look beyond the surface of life. Meanwhile, quantum physics, with its perplexing concepts like wave-particle duality and quantum entanglement, exposes a universe that is anything but ordinary. Together, these perspectives open the door to a profound truth: reality is not as it seems. Stay tuned as we unravel the mysteries of existence, uncover practical lessons for daily life, and discover how this ancient modern dialogue can transform not only our thinking but also the way we live. If you're intrigued by the idea of blending science with spirituality, or you've ever wondered about the true nature of reality, then this video is for you. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button if you love exploring mind-blowing topics like this. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our deep dives into science, philosophy, and the mysteries of existence. Sharing this video with friends who love these topics would mean the world to us. Let's grow this community of curious minds together. Are you ready to question everything you think you know? Let's begin. Reality, as we know it, often seems straightforward and self-evident. But deeper exploration reveals an intricate web of interconnected forces that govern existence. This profound understanding emerges at the intersection of Buddhist philosophy and quantum physics, two seemingly distinct domains that converge in their challenge to conventional perceptions of reality. For centuries, Buddhism has delved into the nature of existence, revealing its transient, interdependent qualities. Quantum physics, armed with the tools of modern science, unveils a universe governed by probabilities, where even the smallest particles defy intuition and operate in surprising ways. In Buddhist teachings, the concept of emptiness, or shunyata, lies at the heart of understanding reality. Emptiness is not the absence of existence, but the absence of inherent, independent essence in any phenomenon. Everything exists as part of an interdependent web, arising from causes and conditions. This principle is vividly illustrated through the Buddhist teachings on dependent origination. Consider a flower blooming in a garden. At first glance, the flower seems like an independent, self-contained entity, but a closer look reveals its dependence on sunlight, water, soil, and countless other factors. Without these elements, the flower could not exist. This interconnectedness, while evident in nature, extends to every aspect of existence, from human relationships to societal structures. Quantum physics echoes this insight through its exploration of the fundamental nature of matter and energy. One of its most startling revelations is wave-particle duality, which shows that particles like electrons can behave as waves or particles depending on how they are observed. This challenges the classical notion that objects have fixed, independent properties. Similarly, the observer effect in quantum mechanics demonstrates that the act of observation influences the state of a quantum system. For example, in the famous double-slit experiment, the behavior of particles changes based on whether they are being observed, highlighting the profound role of the observer in shaping reality. This interplay between observer and observed resonates deeply with Buddhist philosophy. In Buddhism, the mind is seen as an active participant in constructing reality. Our perceptions are not passive reflections of the world, but are shaped by mental formations, past experiences, and current conditions. Meditation practices, central to Buddhist teachings, emphasize observing thoughts and sensations as they arise and dissolve, revealing their impermanent and interdependent nature. This understanding liberates the mind from attachments to fixed notions of self and reality. fostering a sense of interconnectedness with all beings. The concept of quantum entanglement further underscores the interconnectedness of the universe. When two particles become entangled, their states remain linked regardless of the distance separating them. A change in one particle instantaneously influences the other, defying the classical idea that objects are only affected by their immediate surroundings. This phenomenon has been experimentally verified and suggests a level of connectivity that transcends physical boundaries. In the context of Buddhism, such interconnectedness aligns with the teaching that no phenomenon exists in isolation. The ripple effect of actions, known as karma, illustrates how individual choices influence the broader web of existence. While these parallels between Buddhism and quantum physics are striking, they also diverge in their approaches and objectives. Quantum physics seeks to describe the mechanics of the universe through empirical evidence and mathematical models. Its focus is on unraveling the behavior of matter and energy at microscopic scales. In contrast, Buddhism offers a spiritual framework aimed at alleviating suffering and achieving liberation. Its emphasis is on experiential understanding, using practices like mindfulness and meditation to cultivate insight into the nature of reality. Despite these differences, the convergence of these perspectives enriches both fields. The probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics challenges deterministic views of the universe, inviting humility and curiosity about the unknown. Buddhism, with its focus on interdependence and impermanence, complements this scientific perspective by offering tools for navigating the human experience. Together, they encourage a holistic understanding of existence that honors both the scientific and spiritual dimensions of inquiry. Consider the practical implications of these insights in everyday life. Understanding interdependence fosters compassion and responsibility. Recognizing that our actions influence the interconnected web of life inspires more thoughtful choices, from environmental stewardship to interpersonal relationships. Similarly, embracing impermanence helps us navigate change with greater resilience. Instead of clinging to fixed outcomes, we learn to adapt, finding peace in the fluidity of existence. Mindfulness practices provide a bridge between these insights and daily experience. In meditation, observing the transient nature of thoughts and emotions deepens our appreciation of impermanence and interdependence. This practice not only aligns with the principles revealed by quantum physics, but also cultivates clarity and compassion. For instance, when facing a challenging situation, mindfulness helps us respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, transforming how we engage with the world. The observer's role in shaping reality, a cornerstone of quantum mechanics, mirrors the Buddhist understanding of perception. In both frameworks, observation is not passive but participatory. This insight invites us to examine how our perceptions shape our experiences and, ultimately, our reality. By cultivating awareness, we can break free from habitual patterns of attachment and aversion, reducing suffering and fostering a sense of interconnectedness. The parallels between quantum physics and Buddhism extend to their exploration of dualities. Quantum superposition, where particles exist in multiple states until observed, challenges binary thinking. Similarly, Buddhism transcends oppositional constructs, advocating the middle way, a path that avoids extremes like eternalism, belief in permanent existence, and nihilism, denial of existence. This perspective encourages a more nuanced understanding of reality, one that embraces complexity and fluidity. Real-world examples further illuminate these principles. Imagine a person navigating a significant life transition, such as moving to a new city or starting a new job. Initially, the uncertainty and unfamiliarity can be daunting, but recognizing the interdependent factors that shape the experience, supportive relationships, opportunities for growth, and personal resilience can transform fear into gratitude. This shift mirrors the quantum understanding that probabilities, rather than certainties, govern outcomes, inviting openness to possibilities. Another relatable scenario is the impact of mindfulness on relationships. When we approach interactions with awareness, acknowledging the interconnectedness of our emotions and actions, we foster empathy and understanding. For example, A mindful conversation with a friend can deepen connection, as we listen attentively and respond with compassion. This practice embodies the Buddhist teaching of interconnectedness and aligns with the quantum insight that observation shapes reality. The convergence of Buddhism and quantum physics also inspires a deeper inquiry into consciousness. While science has yet to definitively unravel the nature of consciousness, emerging studies explore its relationship with quantum systems. These investigations echo Buddhist teachings, which view consciousness as a dynamic process arising from interdependent conditions. This perspective challenges rigid notions of identity and encourages a more fluid understanding of self. As humanity continues to explore the mysteries of existence, the dialogue between science and spirituality holds immense potential. Collaborative efforts, such as integrating contemplative practices into education and healthcare, demonstrate the practical benefits of merging these disciplines. For instance, mindfulness programs in schools have been shown to improve focus and emotional well-being, reflecting the transformative power of Buddhist principles when applied in a modern context. In conclusion, the intersection of quantum physics and Buddhism offers profound insights into the nature of reality. By challenging conventional views of independence and permanence, they reveal a universe that is interconnected, impermanent, and deeply mysterious. These perspectives not only expand our intellectual understanding, but also provide practical tools for cultivating compassion, resilience, and mindfulness in daily life. Through this integration, we are invited to see the world and ourselves with greater clarity and interconnectedness, transforming how we live and relate to one another. At the core of Buddhist philosophy is the concept of emptiness, or shunyata, a teaching that fundamentally redefines the way we perceive existence. Emptiness does not negate existence itself, but instead challenges the notion that anything possesses an intrinsic, independent essence. This insight emphasizes that all things arise due to causes and conditions, interwoven within a vast network of interconnected phenomena. It is a profound reminder of the interdependent nature of life, urging us to see the world beyond the illusion of separation and permanence. To understand emptiness more clearly, it helps to consider an everyday object, such as a chair. At first glance, the chair appears to be a distinct, independent entity. However, a deeper examination reveals that its existence is contingent upon numerous factors. The wood that forms the chair came from a tree, which depended on sunlight, water, and soil to grow. A carpenter used tools to shape the wood into a chair, tools that themselves were created through a complex chain of events. Even the act of transporting the chair to its current location involved additional layers of interdependence, including vehicles, roads, and people. The chair is not a self-contained object, but a culmination of countless interconnected elements and conditions. This insight illustrates the principle of dependent origination, a cornerstone of Buddhist thought that explains how all phenomena arise in dependence on others. The Buddha frequently employed metaphors to help his followers grasp these teachings. One such metaphor is that of a bubble floating on a river. To the casual observer, the bubble seems real and solid, yet it bursts upon contact, leaving no trace of its existence. This imagery captures the fleeting and insubstantial nature of all things. Just as the bubble is momentary and dependent on the water and air for its form, so too are our experiences, emotions, and even our sense of self shaped by transient and interdependent factors. This understanding invites us to look beyond the surface of things and recognize the impermanence that underlies all aspects of life. Relationships provide a relatable example of interdependence and impermanence. Consider a friendship or romantic relationship. At any given moment, it might seem stable and enduring, yet its foundation is built on countless variables: shared experiences, mutual understanding, external circumstances, and individual emotions. These factors are constantly in flux, meaning that the relationship itself is subject to change. This doesn't diminish its value, but instead highlights its dynamic and impermanent nature. By recognizing this, we can approach relationships with greater openness and adaptability, appreciating their beauty without clinging to an illusion of permanence. Another vivid illustration of emptiness can be found in the natural world. Take the life cycle of a tree. A tree might appear to stand alone, rooted firmly in the ground, but its survival depends on an intricate web of interactions. It absorbs nutrients from the soil, which in turn is enriched by decayed organic matter. It exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen through a process fueled by sunlight. Animals and insects interact with the tree, some using it for shelter while others aid in pollination or seed dispersal. Even after the tree dies, its wood might become fuel, its leaves compost, and its remains nutrients for new life. The tree's existence is a powerful testament to the interconnectedness of all things, demonstrating how emptiness is not about non-existence, but about relational existence. The Buddhist teaching of emptiness also applies to the human sense of self, challenging the deeply ingrained belief in an independent, unchanging I. The Buddha taught that what we consider the self is actually a collection of 5 aggregates, or skandhas: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These aggregates are interdependent processes that constantly change in response to conditions. For instance, your mood might be influenced by the weather, your health by the food you eat, and your thoughts by the media you consume. There is no fixed essence that remains the same throughout these changes. Understanding this can be transformative, helping us let go of rigid notions of identity and embrace the fluidity of our existence. An accessible way to explore this concept in daily life is through mindfulness meditation. In meditation, we observe how thoughts and emotions arise and pass away. A moment of anger might feel overwhelming when it occurs, but with mindful observation, we notice how it emerges, peaks, and eventually fades, often replaced by another emotion or thought. This process reveals the impermanence and interdependence of our mental states, reinforcing the idea that they lack an inherent, independent nature. Over time, this practice can reduce the grip of negative emotions and foster a more balanced perspective on life. The principle of emptiness also extends to societal and cultural constructs. Consider money. For example, at its core, a paper bill or digital currency has no intrinsic value. Its worth arises from collective agreement and shared systems of trust, such as banks and governments. Without these interconnected structures, money would lose its meaning. Similarly, concepts like success, beauty, and even morality are shaped by cultural, historical, and personal contexts, reminding us that they are not fixed absolutes, but constructs arising from interdependent conditions. Modern science, particularly in fields like ecology and systems biology, reinforces these insights. Ecosystems operate as intricate networks where the survival of one species depends on others. For instance, bees pollinate crops, enabling food production, while fungi decompose organic matter, enriching the soil. Disrupting one part of the system can have cascading effects on the whole, underscoring the interconnectedness of life. This scientific understanding aligns beautifully with the Buddhist view of interdependence, demonstrating how ancient wisdom and contemporary knowledge converge. Embracing the concept of emptiness has profound implications for how we live. It encourages humility, as we recognize that our perceptions and judgments are shaped by limited and conditioned perspectives. It also fosters compassion, as we see that all beings are interconnected and share the same web of existence. When we understand that others' actions and circumstances are influenced by countless factors beyond their control, we become more empathetic and less quick to judge. At the same time, the realization of emptiness offers a pathway to freedom. Much of human suffering arises from clinging to the belief that things are permanent and independent. We become attached to possessions, relationships, and identities, fearing their loss and resisting change. By understanding that all things are transient and interdependent, we can let go of this clinging and approach life with greater equanimity. This doesn't mean detachment in a cold or indifferent sense, but rather an ability to engage with life fully while remaining open to its natural ebb and flow. In practice, applying this understanding might involve shifting our focus from seeking external validation to cultivating inner contentment. For example, instead of measuring success by material possessions, we might find fulfillment in meaningful experiences and connections. Recognizing the interdependence of our actions, we might also make more sustainable choices, understanding how our consumption affects the environment and future generations. Ultimately, the wisdom of emptiness invites us to see the world through a lens of interconnectedness and impermanence. It challenges us to move beyond the illusion of separateness and embrace the fluid, dynamic nature of existence, whether reflected in a chair, a relationship, or the broader tapestry of life. This perspective offers a profound opportunity to live with greater awareness, compassion, and freedom. By aligning our actions with this understanding, we can navigate the complexities of life with grace and purpose, finding harmony within ourselves and the world around us. Quantum physics has fundamentally reshaped our understanding of reality, challenging classical notions of a predictable and deterministic universe. Instead of viewing the cosmos as a giant machine governed by straightforward cause and effect relationships, quantum mechanics unveils a realm filled with uncertainty, interconnectedness, and profound paradoxes. These discoveries have not only revolutionized science, but have also invited comparisons with philosophical traditions that emphasize the fluid and interdependent nature of existence, such as Buddhism. One of the most fascinating phenomena in quantum mechanics is wave-particle duality, which reveals that particles, like photons or electrons, exhibit both wave-like and particle-like properties depending on how they are observed. For instance, in the famous double-slit experiment, when light passes through two slits without being observed, it creates an interference pattern on a screen, behaving like a wave. However, if scientists measure which slit the photon passes through, the interference pattern disappears, and the photon behaves like a particle. This experiment demonstrates that the behavior of quantum particles is not fixed but depends on the act of observation itself. In essence, the observer plays a pivotal role in determining how reality manifests. This observer effect is startlingly similar to the Buddhist concept that perception shapes experience. In Buddhist teachings, reality is not an objective, external truth, but is instead co-created by the mind and its interactions with the world. Just as the observer in quantum mechanics influences the state of particles, the human mind actively constructs its reality through thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. A practical example of this can be seen in everyday life. Two people might experience the same event, such as a rainy day, very differently. One might see it as an inconvenience, lamenting canceled plans, while the other might view it as an opportunity to relax indoors or enjoy the calming sound of rain. The event itself is neutral, but the observer's perspective shapes its meaning and impact. Quantum entanglement, often described by Einstein as spooky action at a distance, further disrupts classical ideas about separateness. When two particles become entangled, their states become linked in such a way that a change in one particle instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. This phenomenon has been experimentally verified and defies the classical notion that objects are only influenced by their immediate surroundings. Entanglement reveals a universe where separateness is an illusion, and distant entities remain intrinsically connected. This interconnectedness resonates deeply with the Buddhist teaching of interdependence. In Buddhism, no phenomenon exists in isolation. Everything arises due to causes and conditions, forming an intricate web of relationships. Quantum entanglement provides a scientific parallel to this spiritual insight, demonstrating that connections in the universe extend beyond what we can perceive with our senses. A relatable analogy can be drawn from the internet. While two devices might be separated by thousands of miles, they remain connected through a vast, invisible network. A change on one device, like sending a message, instantaneously affects the other. Similarly, quantum entanglement suggests that the fabric of reality itself operates on a level of profound interconnectedness. The probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics also challenges deterministic worldviews. Unlike classical physics, which predicts precise outcomes given initial conditions, quantum mechanics describes reality in terms of probabilities. For example, the position of an electron around an atom is not fixed but is represented by a probability cloud, indicating where it is most likely to be found. Only when observed does the electron choose a specific location. This inherent uncertainty aligns with the Buddhist understanding of impermanence and the ever-changing nature of existence. Just as quantum particles do not have fixed states, life itself is fluid and unpredictable, constantly shaped by a multitude of factors. To make this concept more relatable, consider a coin toss. While classical physics could theoretically predict the outcome if all variables were known, such as the force of the toss and air resistance, quantum mechanics deals with situations where the outcome is fundamentally uncertain until it is observed. This probabilistic framework mirrors the unpredictability of human experiences, where outcomes are often influenced by a complex interplay of variables that cannot be fully controlled or predicted. The quantum field theory, another cornerstone of quantum mechanics, provides additional insights into the nature of reality. According to this theory, the universe is permeated by fields, such as the electromagnetic field, which give rise to particles when energy condenses. Particles are not fundamental building blocks, but are instead manifestations of underlying fields. This idea resonates with the Buddhist teaching that form arises from emptiness. In the Heart Sutra, a central text in Mahayana Buddhism, it is stated that form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. This paradoxical insight emphasizes that what we perceive as solid and distinct emerges from a deeper, interconnected reality that lacks inherent existence. The observer effect in quantum mechanics raises profound questions about the role of consciousness in shaping reality. While some interpretations suggest that the act of measurement by an observer determines the state of a quantum system, others argue that this effect is not limited to human consciousness but extends to any interaction with the environment. Regardless of the interpretation, the idea that observation plays a role in determining reality challenges the classical assumption of an objective, observer-independent universe. This aligns intriguingly with Buddhist teachings, which emphasize the mind's central role in constructing perceptions of the world. Consider how our personal biases and beliefs shape our experiences. For example, someone who believes they are unlucky might focus on negative events, reinforcing their perception of bad luck. Meanwhile, someone with a more optimistic outlook might interpret the same events differently, finding silver linings or lessons in adversity. In both cases, the observer's mindset influences their reality, echoing the quantum insight that observation shapes outcomes. Quantum physics also introduces the concept of superposition, where particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until measured. This phenomenon challenges binary thinking, suggesting that reality is not limited to either-or scenarios but encompasses a spectrum of possibilities. This mirrors the Buddhist rejection of dualism, which transcends oppositional constructs like self and other or existence and non-existence. The middle way, a central tenet of Buddhism, advocates for a balanced perspective that avoids extremes and embraces the complexity of reality. The practical implications of these quantum insights are vast. They encourage us to approach the world with humility and curiosity, recognizing that our understanding of reality is always provisional and shaped by our perspective. This mindset can be transformative in everyday life. For instance, in conflicts, acknowledging the role of perception can foster empathy and open-mindedness, recognizing that our viewpoint is one of many, shaped by specific conditions, can help us navigate disagreements with greater compassion and patience. Quantum mechanics also invites us to embrace uncertainty and let go of the need for absolute control. Just as quantum particles exist in a state of probabilities, life is filled with unknowns. This perspective can be liberating, helping us adapt to change and uncertainty with resilience. For example, when facing a career transition or a personal challenge, accepting the unpredictability of the outcome can reduce anxiety and create space for growth and exploration. Quantum physics and its insights into interconnectedness, uncertainty, and the participatory nature of reality challenge us to reconsider our place in the universe. These principles not only deepen our understanding of the cosmos, but also offer practical lessons for living more mindful, compassionate, and adaptable lives. By exploring the parallels between quantum mechanics and philosophical traditions like Buddhism, we gain a richer perspective on the nature of existence and the interconnected fabric of reality. Buddhism and quantum physics, while originating from entirely different traditions, converge in their exploration of reality, challenging conventional notions of independence and permanence. Both fields reveal a universe governed by interconnectedness and shaped by the dynamic interplay of conditions. This alignment between ancient spiritual insights and cutting-edge scientific discoveries invites a profound reconsideration of how we perceive existence. A key area of convergence lies in the role of the observer in shaping reality. In Buddhism, the mind is not seen as a passive recipient of external stimuli, but as an active participant in constructing experience. Meditation, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, provides a direct way to observe this process. When meditating, practitioners notice how thoughts and emotions arise seemingly from nowhere, linger briefly, and then dissolve. This practice reveals the transient and interdependent nature of mental phenomena, demonstrating that our perceptions of reality are deeply influenced by the workings of the mind. For example, an event such as a missed bus might trigger feelings of frustration for one person and relief for another, depending on their mental state and expectations. The event itself is neutral. It is the observer's interpretation that gives it meaning and emotional weight. Quantum physics echoes this insight through the observer effect, a phenomenon in which the act of measurement influences the state of a quantum system. A classic illustration of this is the double-slit experiment. When particles like photons or electrons pass through two slits without being observed, they create an interference pattern on a screen, behaving like waves. However, if scientists measure which slit the particle goes through, the interference pattern disappears, and the particles behave as individual entities. This experiment demonstrates that observation plays a pivotal role in determining how reality manifests, a concept that aligns with the Buddhist understanding of the mind's role in constructing experience. Just as the observer in meditation uncovers the fluid and impermanent nature of thoughts, the quantum observer unveils the fluidity of matter itself. This shared emphasis on observation highlights the participatory nature of existence, suggesting that reality is not a fixed, objective truth but a dynamic interplay between observer and observed. This understanding has profound implications for how we live and engage with the world. Recognizing that our perceptions are shaped by our mental frameworks can encourage mindfulness and intentionality, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and compassion. Another striking parallel between Buddhism and quantum physics is their approach to transcending dualities. In quantum mechanics, the concept of superposition challenges binary thinking by demonstrating that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. This phenomenon defies the classical notion that something must be either one thing or another, such as a particle or a wave. Instead, quantum superposition reveals a more nuanced reality in which opposites coexist, embodying a spectrum of possibilities. This insight mirrors the Buddhist middle way, a philosophy that avoids the extremes of eternalism, believing in permanent existence, and nihilism, denying existence altogether. Buddhism teaches that reality transcends binary oppositions such as self and other, existence and non-existence, or good and bad. These dualities, while helpful for navigating everyday life, are ultimately constructs of the mind, arising from limited perspectives. The middle way invites us to move beyond these constructs and embrace a more fluid and interconnected understanding of existence. A relatable example of transcending dualities can be found in the realm of human relationships. Consider the common experience of conflict between two individuals. Often, the disagreement arises from rigidly held positions, with each party viewing their perspective as right and the other as wrong. By adopting a middle way approach, individuals can step back from these oppositional stances and recognize the shared conditions that contribute to the conflict, such as miscommunication, unmet needs, or differing values. This perspective fosters empathy and cooperation, transforming the conflict into an opportunity for growth and connection. Quantum superposition and the middle way also invite us to rethink our approach to decision-making. In traditional models, decisions are often framed as either or choices, such as pursuing a particular career or staying in a current job. However, Both quantum physics and Buddhism suggest that reality is more complex than binary options. By embracing uncertainty and exploring multiple possibilities, we can make decisions that align with the interconnected nature of our lives. For instance, someone considering a career change might initially see it as a stark choice between stability and risk. A more nuanced perspective could reveal ways to integrate elements of both, such as transitioning gradually or pursuing a side project alongside their current job. The convergence of these perspectives extends to their treatment of the self. In Buddhism, the concept of no self, *anatta*, challenges the idea of a fixed, independent identity. Instead, the self is understood as a collection of 5 aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness that arise and dissolve based on conditions. This view aligns with quantum physics, which describes particles not as discrete entities, but as probabilistic waves that only take on specific properties when measured. Both frameworks dissolve the boundaries of individuality, revealing a reality in which the self is inseparable from the larger web of existence. This understanding of the self has practical implications for personal growth and well-being. By recognizing the fluid and interdependent nature of identity, we can let go of rigid self-concepts that limit our potential. For example, someone who identifies strongly with a particular role, such as being a perfectionist or a caregiver, might feel trapped by the expectations associated with that identity. Embracing the idea of no self allows them to see these roles as temporary and conditional, opening the door to new possibilities and greater freedom. Quantum physics and Buddhism also share a commitment to exploring the nature of form and formlessness. In quantum field theory, particles emerge from underlying fields, which themselves lack fixed form. Similarly, in Buddhist thought, form arises from emptiness through the interplay of causes and conditions. The Heart Sutra captures this insight succinctly: form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. This paradox highlights the interconnected nature of existence, where what appears solid and distinct is, at a deeper level, fluid and relational. A practical application of this insight can be found in our relationship with material possessions. Modern society often equates happiness with acquiring and owning things. Yet these objects, like particles in quantum physics, lack intrinsic value or permanence. Recognizing this can shift our focus from accumulating possessions to cultivating experiences and connections that enrich our lives. For instance, instead of striving to own the latest technology, we might prioritize spending quality time with loved ones or engaging in meaningful activities that contribute to our well-being. The parallels between quantum physics and Buddhism ultimately point to a shared invitation to explore reality with humility and curiosity. Both perspectives challenge us to question our assumptions and embrace the mysteries of existence. By integrating these insights into our daily lives, we can cultivate a deeper sense of interconnectedness, resilience, and purpose, navigating the complexities of life with greater wisdom and compassion. Whether through the scientific rigor of quantum mechanics or the contemplative practices of Buddhism, the journey into the nature of reality offers profound opportunities for growth and transformation. The story of the fisherman and the mirror is a classic Buddhist parable that reveals the ways in which misperception can lead to unnecessary suffering. In the tale, the fisherman, upon seeing his reflection in the water, mistakes it for another person, feeling threatened or disturbed by this other. He reacts by throwing stones, only to realize later that the figure he was attempting to drive away was his own image all along. This simple yet profound story demonstrates how the mind creates illusions that distort reality, leading to actions driven by misunderstanding and fear. This idea resonates strongly with the principles of quantum physics, particularly the role of the observer in shaping reality. In a quantum experiment, the biases or assumptions of the experimenter can affect the interpretation of results. For instance, in studying quantum states, an experimenter might misinterpret data due to preconceived notions, only to later realize that their perspective, rather than the system itself, introduced the error. This is akin to the fisherman's misjudgment of his reflection. as both cases reveal how mistaken perceptions can obscure the true nature of what is being observed. To make this more relatable, consider a real-world scenario involving interpersonal relationships. Imagine a colleague at work who seems distant or uncooperative. Without further inquiry, you might assume they are upset with you or uninterested in collaboration. Acting on this assumption, you might avoid engaging with them, which in turn reinforces the distance between you. Later, upon learning they were simply preoccupied with personal matters, you realize your initial interpretation was flawed, like the fisherman throwing stones or the experimenter misreading data. The suffering caused by the misunderstanding was entirely avoidable if the observer's role in shaping the situation had been acknowledged. The parallels between quantum physics and Buddhist teachings become even clearer in the phenomenon of quantum entanglement. This scientific concept, which describes how two particles become linked in such a way that a change in one instantaneously affects the other, challenges the classical notion of separateness. Even when entangled particles are separated by vast distances, their states remain interconnected. This defies our everyday understanding of causality and space, revealing a level of interconnectedness that transcends physical boundaries. Consider a physicist grappling with the implications of entanglement. Initially trained in the deterministic framework of classical physics, they may struggle to reconcile this seemingly spooky action at a distance with their existing worldview. However, as they delve deeper into the phenomenon, they begin to see its philosophical implications. The universe operates as a unified whole, and the division between objects is, at best, an illusion created by limited perception. This realization mirrors the experience of a meditator who, through deep introspection, comes to understand the illusory nature of the ego. Just as the physicist recognizes the interconnectedness of particles, the meditator sees that the self is not an isolated entity but is instead part of a larger, interdependent reality. To bring this down to a level that resonates with everyday life, think about the ways in which people often perceive themselves as separate from others. This sense of separation can lead to competition, conflict, and a lack of empathy. However, moments of connection such as collaborating on a project, comforting a friend, or participating in a community effort can dissolve this illusion. These experiences reveal that our well-being is deeply intertwined with that of others, much like entangled particles whose states are inherently linked. This understanding can inspire greater compassion and cooperation, transforming the way we interact with the world. Another powerful example of interconnectedness can be found in the environment. A forest, for instance, may appear to be a collection of individual trees, each standing alone, but beneath the surface, the trees are connected by an intricate network of roots and fungi known as the wood wide web. This underground network allows trees to share nutrients, warn each other of threats, and even support weaker trees. Similarly, in quantum entanglement, the apparent separateness of particles is an illusion. Their connection exists at a deeper, often invisible level. This natural phenomenon serves as a reminder that what seems independent on the surface is, in reality, part of an interdependent whole. The interplay of observer and observed, as well as the recognition of interconnectedness, has practical implications for how we navigate our own lives. In Buddhism, the practice of mindfulness encourages individuals to become aware of their thoughts, emotions, and actions, observing them without attachment or aversion. This awareness can lead to profound insights, much like a physicist's deeper understanding of quantum phenomena through observation and experimentation. For example, when faced with a stressful situation, mindfulness allows us to see how our reactions are shaped by underlying assumptions and emotions. By stepping back and observing, we can respond with greater clarity and intention rather than being driven by automatic responses. A relatable scenario might involve a difficult conversation with a friend or family member. Without mindfulness, you might react defensively to their words, escalating the conflict. However, by pausing to observe your thoughts and emotions, you can recognize your own biases or triggers and choose a more constructive response. This practice mirrors the principles of both quantum physics and Buddhism, where the act of observation brings clarity and shapes outcomes in meaningful ways. The story of the fisherman and the mirror also offers a lesson in self-awareness. Just as the fisherman's struggle was with his own reflection, many of the challenges we face in life are rooted in our internal perceptions rather than external circumstances. For example, someone who constantly seeks validation from others may interpret neutral feedback as criticism, leading to unnecessary distress. Recognizing this pattern, much like the fisherman recognizing his reflection, can help break the cycle of suffering. In the same vein, quantum physics teaches us that reality is not as fixed or objective as it seems. The observer effect reminds us that our presence and actions influence the outcomes we observe, whether in a laboratory or in daily interactions. This insight can be empowering, showing us that we have the ability to shape our reality through conscious choices and intentional actions. For instance, adopting a positive mindset when approaching a challenging task can improve both performance and perception, much like an experimenter fine-tuning their approach to achieve clearer results. The realization that separation is an illusion has profound implications for how we view ourselves and our relationships. In a world increasingly divided by differences, understanding interconnectedness can foster a sense of shared humanity, whether through the lens of quantum physics or the teachings of Buddhism. This perspective encourages us to look beyond surface distinctions and recognize the deeper connections that unite us. By doing so, we can create a more compassionate and harmonious world, much like the fisherman who, upon realizing his error, stops throwing stones and instead finds peace in the reflection before him. The insights from Buddhism and quantum physics extend far beyond theoretical discourse, offering practical tools for navigating the complexities of daily life. Both perspectives highlight the fluidity, interconnectedness, and impermanence of existence, encouraging us to approach life with mindfulness, adaptability, and a deeper sense of responsibility. By embracing these principles, we can foster personal growth, enhance our relationships, and make choices that contribute to a more compassionate and harmonious world. Mindfulness and adaptability are essential skills in an ever-changing world. Quantum mechanics teaches us that reality is not deterministic but probabilistic, a concept that aligns closely with the Buddhist view of impermanence. Just as particles exist in a state of probability until observed, the outcomes of our actions often depend on countless variables beyond our control. This uncertainty can feel overwhelming, but mindfulness provides a way to navigate it with grace. By grounding ourselves in the present moment, we become less attached to rigid expectations and more open to the possibilities that life offers. Imagine being caught in a traffic jam. Your initial reaction might be frustration or anger, as the situation disrupts your plans. However, through mindfulness, you can recognize these emotions as fleeting responses rather than fixed realities. Instead of fixating on the delay, you might use the time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or simply observe your surroundings. This shift in perspective transforms a stressful experience into an opportunity for growth and awareness. Similarly, in the workplace, mindfulness can help you adapt to unexpected challenges, such as a project falling behind schedule or a sudden change in priorities. By staying present and focused, you can respond to these situations with clarity and creativity rather than being overwhelmed by frustration or fear. Compassion and responsibility naturally arise from an understanding of interdependence. Quantum physics demonstrates that everything in the universe is interconnected, from particles at the smallest scales to the vast web of cosmic interactions. Buddhism echoes this truth, teaching that all beings and phenomena are linked through a network of causes and conditions. Recognizing this interconnectedness fosters empathy, as we see that our actions have far-reaching consequences beyond what is immediately visible. Consider the impact of everyday choices, such as the decision to recycle, reduce plastic use, or support ethical businesses. At first glance, these actions might seem small and inconsequential. However, when viewed through the lens of interdependence, their significance becomes clear. Recycling a single plastic bottle reduces waste, conserves resources, and contributes to a cleaner environment for future generations. Similarly, Choosing to support local farmers or sustainable brands promotes a chain of positive outcomes, benefiting not only the producers, but also the communities and ecosystems they depend on. This awareness of interconnectedness also transforms our relationships. For example, when a friend or colleague is upset, it can be tempting to dismiss their emotions as unrelated to our own lives. However, understanding that their well-being is intertwined with ours can inspire a more compassionate response. By offering support or simply listening with empathy, we not only help them, but also strengthen the bonds that connect us. In this way, compassion becomes a ripple effect, spreading through the web of relationships that shape our lives. Letting go of attachments is another profound lesson drawn from both Buddhism and quantum physics. The Buddhist teaching of impermanence reminds us that all things, from material possessions to emotional states, are transient and subject to change. Similarly, quantum mechanics reveals a world where even the smallest particles are in constant motion, never fixed or static. Embracing this impermanence helps us reduce clinging and aversion, leading to greater inner peace. A relatable example can be found in the way people often hold onto outdated expectations or plans. Imagine someone planning an outdoor wedding, only for rain to disrupt their carefully laid arrangements. Clinging to the idea of a perfect sunny day can lead to disappointment and frustration. However, by letting go of rigid expectations and embracing the reality of the situation, they might discover unexpected joys: a cozy indoor celebration, laughter shared over umbrellas, or the romantic atmosphere of rain. This ability to adapt and find contentment in the present moment is at the heart of letting go. The practice of releasing attachment also applies to relationships and self-identity. People often cling to roles or labels, such as being a successful professional or perfect parent, creating immense pressure to live up to these ideals. Recognizing the impermanence of these roles allows us to approach them with more flexibility and self-compassion. For instance, a parent who lets go of the need to appear flawless might find greater joy and connection in simply being present with their child, free from the fear of judgment or failure. Similarly, someone navigating a career change might embrace the opportunity to explore new paths, rather than feeling constrained by past achievements or expectations. This principle extends to our relationship with material possessions. In modern society, there is often a strong attachment to things: homes, cars, gadgets that are seen as symbols of success or happiness. However, these possessions, like everything else, are impermanent. A phone that was cutting edge a year ago becomes outdated. A car eventually wears out. By letting go of the notion that happiness depends on accumulating or preserving material wealth, we can focus on what truly matters: meaningful experiences, relationships, and personal growth. The insights of Buddhism and quantum physics also encourage us to embrace change rather than resist it. Whether it's the natural aging process, shifts in relationships, or broader societal transformations, change is an inevitable part of life. Resisting it often leads to suffering, as we cling to the illusion of permanence. By accepting impermanence, we can approach change with curiosity and openness, viewing it as an opportunity for renewal and growth. For example, consider the experience of moving to a new city. Initially, the loss of familiar surroundings and routines can feel daunting. However, by embracing the impermanence of the old and the possibilities of the new, this transition can become an adventure, a chance to discover new places, meet new people, and expand one's horizons. This perspective not only reduces anxiety but also fosters resilience, helping us navigate life's uncertainties with grace. In the context of global challenges, such as climate change or social inequality, these principles take on even greater significance. Recognizing the interconnectedness of all life highlights the urgency of collective action. Each individual's choices reducing waste, advocating for justice, or supporting sustainable initiatives contribute to the larger effort to create a more equitable and sustainable world. At the same time, letting go of attachment to immediate results allows us to remain committed to these efforts without becoming overwhelmed by setbacks or slow progress. Ultimately, The practical applications of these insights lie in cultivating a mindset of mindfulness, adaptability, compassion, and acceptance. By observing our thoughts and actions, we become more attuned to the ways in which we shape our reality. By embracing uncertainty, we learn to navigate life's unpredictability with resilience. By recognizing interconnectedness, we find deeper meaning in our choices and relationships. And by letting go of attachments, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering, opening the door to greater peace and fulfillment. These practices, grounded in the shared wisdom of Buddhism and quantum physics, offer a pathway to a life that is not only more harmonious, but also more aligned with the fundamental nature of existence. As science continues to probe the mysteries of consciousness and interconnectedness, the convergence between Buddhism and quantum physics opens up profound opportunities for exploration and growth. This dialogue between two seemingly disparate domains is not only intellectually stimulating but also practically transformative, offering insights that can reshape how we understand reality and interact with the world. Collaborative initiatives, such as research on the impact of meditation on the brain, illustrate how these disciplines can inform and enrich one another, creating a bridge between scientific rigor and spiritual wisdom. One area where this interplay is particularly evident is in the study of mindfulness and meditation. Neuroscientific research has shown that consistent meditation practice can physically alter the brain, increasing the density of gray matter in regions associated with emotional regulation, empathy, and self-awareness. These findings align closely with Buddhist teachings, which emphasize the transformative power of meditation for cultivating inner peace and clarity. For example, a study might investigate how mindfulness practices reduce stress by regulating the amygdala, the brain's fear center. Such research not only validates ancient wisdom but also provides tangible methods for improving mental health and well-being in a modern context. Consider how mindfulness has been integrated into healthcare and education. Programs like mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, have demonstrated significant benefits for patients dealing with chronic pain, anxiety, and depression. These programs draw heavily from Buddhist principles while being adapted to fit a scientific framework. Similarly, schools that incorporate mindfulness practices into their curricula report improvements in students' focus, emotional resilience, and overall behavior. These examples highlight how the synergy between science and spirituality can create practical tools for addressing real-world challenges. Quantum physics contributes to this dialogue by challenging traditional notions of separateness and independence, concepts that are also central to Buddhist philosophy. The idea that particles can influence each other instantaneously, regardless of distance, through quantum entanglement mirrors the Buddhist understanding of interconnectedness. This perspective invites a reevaluation of how we view ourselves in relation to others and the world. For instance, when faced with global issues like climate change or social inequality, recognizing our interconnectedness can inspire a sense of shared responsibility. If the well-being of one is tied to the well-being of all, then individual actions, no matter how small, take on greater significance. In a practical sense, this vision of unity can transform societal structures. Imagine urban planning initiatives that prioritize not just efficiency but also community well-being. Drawing on principles of interconnectedness, parks and green spaces could be designed to foster social connection and mental health, reflecting an understanding that human flourishing is tied to the environment. Similarly, policies addressing climate change could emphasize collaborative efforts across nations, acknowledging that the effects of environmental degradation transcend borders. The integration of science and spirituality also has implications for leadership and governance. Leaders who embrace both rational analysis and compassionate insight are better equipped to navigate the complexities of the modern world. For example, a corporate executive who understands the interconnected nature of their business ecosystem might prioritize sustainable practices and employee well-being alongside profit margins. This holistic approach reflects the fusion of scientific and spiritual perspectives, creating a model for leadership that values both accountability and empathy. As this dialogue evolves, it also raises important questions about the nature of consciousness. While quantum physics does not explicitly address consciousness, its principles suggest intriguing possibilities. For instance, the observer effect, where observation influences the state of a system, has led some to speculate about the role of awareness in shaping reality. While such ideas remain speculative, they resonate with Buddhist teachings, which view consciousness as a central factor in the construction of experience. This intersection invites further inquiry, bridging gaps between neuroscience, quantum mechanics, and contemplative traditions. Emerging fields like quantum consciousness studies attempt to explore these connections, though they remain highly theoretical. Even so, the very act of posing such questions encourages a spirit of curiosity and humility, qualities that are essential for meaningful scientific and spiritual inquiry. Consider the possibilities if future research were to uncover a deeper relationship between quantum phenomena and conscious experience. Such discoveries could revolutionize our understanding of the mind, offering new insights into everything from mental health to artificial intelligence. The convergence of science and spirituality also has profound ethical implications. Both quantum physics and Buddhism challenge the illusion of separateness, emphasizing interconnectedness as a fundamental aspect of reality. This understanding naturally leads to a more compassionate worldview, as it becomes clear that actions taken in isolation inevitably ripple through the larger web of existence. For example, the decision to reduce personal carbon emissions, while seemingly small, contributes to the collective effort to combat climate change. Similarly, acts of kindness and generosity create waves of positivity that extend far beyond their immediate context. In this vision of unity, compassion becomes not just a moral ideal but a practical necessity. Imagine a world where policies and systems are designed with interconnectedness in mind. Healthcare systems could prioritize preventative care and holistic approaches, recognizing the interplay between physical, mental, and societal well-being. Education could emphasize not only academic achievement, but also emotional intelligence and mindfulness, equipping students to navigate a complex and interdependent world. These shifts would reflect a deeper understanding of reality, informed by both scientific evidence and spiritual wisdom. Art and creativity also have a role to play in bridging science and spirituality. Films, literature, and other forms of expression can translate complex ideas into relatable narratives, making them accessible to a wider audience. For example, a film exploring the implications of quantum mechanics might weave in themes of interconnectedness and impermanence, drawing parallels with Buddhist philosophy. Similarly, a novel or play could use storytelling to illustrate how mindfulness and compassion transform relationships and communities. These creative endeavors can inspire reflection and dialogue, fostering a broader cultural appreciation for the insights emerging from this convergence. The potential for science and spirituality to harmonize extends to personal growth as well. Individuals who embrace this integration often report profound shifts in their perspective and priorities. For instance, someone who begins to see their life as part of a larger interconnected whole might focus less on material accumulation and more on cultivating meaningful relationships and contributing to the greater good. This transformation is not about abandoning science or spirituality in favor of the other, but about finding balance between the two, using each to enrich and deepen the other. Even in the corporate world, these principles are gaining traction. Companies that incorporate mindfulness training and ethical decision-making frameworks are finding that employees perform better and experience greater job satisfaction. These practices, rooted in both scientific research and spiritual traditions, create healthier and more productive work environments. They also demonstrate that the integration of science and spirituality is not limited to academic or philosophical circles, but has practical applications across all sectors of society. Ultimately, the future of this dialogue depends on our willingness to embrace complexity and uncertainty. Both quantum physics and Buddhism remind us that reality is far more intricate than it appears on the surface. By remaining open to new ideas and perspectives, we can continue to expand our understanding of the universe and our place within it. This openness is not about finding definitive answers, but about cultivating a mindset of exploration and humility. recognizing that the journey itself is as important as the destination. As we move forward, the harmony between science and spirituality offers a vision of unity that transcends traditional boundaries. It invites us to reimagine how we live, work, and relate to one another, guided by a deeper appreciation of interconnectedness and the transformative power of inquiry. This dialogue, far from being a mere intellectual exercise, has the potential to reshape the world, fostering a future where compassion and understanding are at the forefront of human endeavor. Through this integration, we are not only advancing knowledge but also creating a foundation for a more equitable, sustainable, and fulfilling way of life. Buddhism and quantum physics, despite their vastly different origins, converge on a shared mission to unravel the mysteries of reality and redefine our place within it. Both frameworks challenge us to look beyond superficial appearances and question the assumptions that shape our understanding of existence. In doing so, they reveal a universe that is not static or independent but fluid, interdependent, and profoundly interconnected. This realization has far-reaching implications for how we live, think, and relate to the world around us. The invitation to question the nature of reality is central to both Buddhism and quantum physics. In Buddhism, the concept of shunyata, or emptiness, encourages us to see beyond the illusion of inherent existence. Everything we perceive as solid and independent arises due to interdependent causes and conditions. Much like the interconnected web of quantum particles described in modern physics, consider a simple object, like a loaf of bread on a dining table. On the surface, it seems self-contained, but its existence depends on an intricate network of relationships: the farmer who grew the wheat, the sunlight and rain that nurtured the crops, the workers who processed the grain, and the baker who turned it into bread. This interdependence is echoed in quantum physics, where particles do not exist in isolation but are influenced by fields, waves, and interactions that transcend boundaries. Such insights compel us to let go of the rigid, dualistic thinking that often dominates our worldview. Both Buddhism and quantum mechanics teach us to move beyond binary constructs, such as self versus other or matter versus energy. Quantum superposition, where particles exist in multiple states until observed, mirrors the Buddhist middle way, which avoids the extremes of eternalism and nihilism. Life, like the quantum realm, exists in a dynamic interplay of possibilities. By embracing this complexity, we free ourselves from the constraints of either or thinking and open the door to more nuanced perspectives. This shift in perception is not purely theoretical but has practical applications in daily life. When we understand that reality is fluid and interconnected, we begin to see our actions and choices in a new light. Take, for example, the way we interact with others. Often, conflicts arise because we cling to fixed ideas about right and wrong, failing to recognize the shared conditions that influence behavior. A heated argument with a coworker, for instance, might initially feel like a personal attack, but stepping back to consider the broader context, their stress, deadlines, or external pressures reveals a more compassionate perspective. This awareness transforms our reactions, allowing us to respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. The recognition of interdependence also fosters a greater sense of responsibility. In a world where every action has a ripple effect, even seemingly small choices carry significant weight. Recycling a bottle, volunteering at a community event, or simply showing kindness to a stranger may seem minor, but their impact extends far beyond the immediate moment. These actions contribute to the interconnected web of life, influencing others in ways we may never fully comprehend. This understanding aligns with the quantum principle that even the smallest particles can affect the larger system, underscoring the importance of mindful and intentional living. Both Buddhism and quantum physics encourage us to embrace uncertainty and impermanence. In quantum mechanics, outcomes are described in terms of probabilities rather than certainties, reflecting the inherently unpredictable nature of the universe. Similarly, Buddhism teaches that clinging to permanence is a source of suffering, as all things are subject to change. Imagine the anxiety of planning a perfect vacation, only to have unforeseen weather disrupt your plans. By accepting the impermanence of circumstances, you can adapt and find joy in alternative experiences, such as exploring indoor activities or appreciating the beauty of a rainy day. This flexibility, rooted in the understanding of impermanence, enables us to navigate life's uncertainties with greater resilience and grace. Another profound lesson from these two disciplines is the importance of observation in shaping reality. In quantum physics, the observer effect reveals that the act of measurement influences the state of a system. This idea parallels Buddhist teachings, which emphasize the mind's role in constructing experience. Our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions shape the way we interpret and respond to the world. Much like an observer in a quantum experiment influences the behavior of particles. For example, two people may witness the same event, such as a traffic jam, but interpret it differently based on their mental state. One might see it as an opportunity to listen to a podcast or reflect, while the other becomes frustrated and angry. This divergence highlights the power of perception in shaping our reality. Understanding the participatory nature of reality inspires a more intentional approach to life. Just as scientists carefully design experiments to observe quantum phenomena, we can cultivate mindfulness to observe and influence our thoughts and actions. Meditation, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, offers a practical way to develop this awareness. By sitting quietly and observing the flow of thoughts and sensations, we gain insight into the transient and interconnected nature of experience. This practice not only enhances self-awareness, but also fosters a sense of peace and clarity, helping us respond to challenges with greater wisdom. The interconnectedness revealed by both Buddhism and quantum physics extends beyond the individual to encompass the entire cosmos. Quantum entanglement, where particles remain linked regardless of distance, mirrors the Buddhist view that all beings are part of a larger whole. This perspective challenges the illusion of separateness and invites us to see ourselves as threads in a vast, interconnected tapestry. When we view the world through this lens, divisions such as nationality, race, or social status become less significant. Instead, we recognize the shared humanity that unites us and the collective responsibility we hold for the planet and its inhabitants. This sense of unity has practical implications for addressing global challenges. Climate change, for instance, is not an isolated issue but a symptom of deeper interdependence. The choices we make, how we consume resources, how we treat the environment affect ecosystems and communities worldwide. Recognizing this interconnectedness can inspire collaborative efforts to create sustainable solutions. Just as quantum physics reveals the interconnected nature of particles, Buddhism reminds us that individual actions contribute to the larger whole. A decision to reduce waste, plant a tree, or advocate for environmental policies may seem small, but it ripples outward, influencing others and contributing to a collective effort. The invitation to embrace a fluid, interconnected universe also has profound implications for how we view ourselves and our relationships. Buddhism challenges the notion of a fixed, independent self, teaching that identity is a dynamic interplay of form, sensations, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Quantum physics, too, reveals that particles are not discrete entities but exist as waves of probability, shaped by interactions with their environment. This shared understanding dissolves the boundaries between self and other, encouraging us to see our lives as part of a larger, interdependent process. In practice, this perspective can transform how we approach relationships and community. When we recognize that our well-being is tied to the well-being of others, we become more compassionate and collaborative. A parent, for instance, may find greater patience and understanding when they see their child's behavior as influenced by developmental stages and external factors rather than as a personal affront. Similarly, a manager might foster a more supportive work environment by recognizing the interconnected dynamics of team performance, stress, and motivation. Ultimately, the lessons of Buddhism and quantum physics challenge us to rethink our place in the universe and our role within it. They remind us that reality is not a fixed, objective construct but a dynamic, interdependent process shaped by observation, perception, and interaction. By embracing this understanding, we can cultivate a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence and live more harmoniously with ourselves, others, and the world. This journey beyond illusion is not just an intellectual exercise, but a transformative path toward greater connection, compassion, and purpose. We've just taken a journey into the heart of reality, guided by two extraordinary perspectives: the ancient teachings of Buddhism and the revolutionary discoveries of quantum physics. Together, they've shown us that reality is fluid, interconnected, and shaped by our perceptions. From the illusion of separateness to the profound interconnectedness of all things, we've explored how these insights challenge the way we see ourselves and the world. But this exploration doesn't stop here. The questions raised by Buddhism and quantum physics are invitations, challenges to go deeper into our own experiences and to rethink what it means to exist in such a mysterious and interconnected universe. How do these ideas resonate with you? Do they make you see life, relationships, or even yourself differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you found value in this journey, make sure to like this video. It really helps support the channel and lets us know you want more content like this. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always the first to explore with us. Share this video with friends or family who'd love to rethink reality and explore these deep ideas. It could spark some fascinating conversations. Reality may not be what it seems, but one thing is certain: the journey of understanding is endless, and it's always better when shared. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking the truth. See you in the next video.